Welcome, deep divers. So, have you ever stood right there looking at some big, ambitious goal?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe getting in shape finally, or learning that new skill, maybe tackling a huge project.
hmm
And you have that first burst of motivation, but then it just kind of fizzles out.
Totally. Happens all the time.
That huge ambition suddenly feels overwhelming,
Right.
right? And then you're just back where you started. If you're human, I think you've been there.
It's the classic cycle, isn't it? We often think, that these huge changes need some equally huge, monumental effort.
Right.
But what if the real secret, the way to make it last, is actually, well, much smaller, even tiny?
Exactly. And that's the fascinating idea we're really diving into today. We're exploring the groundbreaking stuff from James Clear's Atomic Habits.
Great book.
Yeah. Our mission here is to unpack the surprising power of these tiny, consistent actions and, how you can actually design your environment to help you succeed almost effortlessly. And maybe most importantly, why focusing on who you become is so much more powerful than just focusing on what you achieve.
That identity piece is key.
Totally. So
Yeah.
you're going to walk away with real practical strategies, things you can use to build good habits, dismantle the bad ones, and hopefully without constantly fighting your own willpower.
It's really about understanding the fundamental forces driving how we act. And then, crucially, learning how to work with those forces, not just push against them.
Okay, so how does someone even become an expert in this sort of subtle art of habit change? Well, the story starts with James Clear himself. He wasn't born a habit guru.
No, not at all.
Back in high school, he was a really promising baseball player, but then a terrible injury got hit in the face with a bat. It just changed everything for him.
Yeah, that was brutal. Brain swelling, medically induced coma.
Wow.
It was a truly traumatic thing. And his recovery, it was long, grueling, really. Months, just relearning basic motor skills.
And then trying to get back into baseball.
Right, a year later. And it was, well, humiliating for him. Cut from the varsity team, barely played any innings in high school. That's a tough blow, especially when your dad was a pro player.
Ouch. But see, this is where the real story, the atomic story, kind of begins. In college, he started this quiet revolution in his own life. Not with big, flashy gestures, but with small, consistent habits. He started lifting weights just a few times a week, really transformed his body over time.
And he focused on sleep, too, right? And
Yeah.
study habits.
Exactly. Prioritize sleep, work diligently on study. He wasn't trying to be perfect overnight, just consistent.
And the results started to, compound. It wasn't instant, but by sophomore year, he was a starting pitcher.
Wow.
Junior year, team captain, all conference. And then you fast forward a few more years.
Yeah.
And those small, consistent efforts, they really snowballed, turned him into this leading voice on habits, reaching millions, writing this book. It's just a powerful example of how tiny changes can lead to extraordinary results.
Which brings us right to that core concept, Atomic Habits. It's such a brilliant title, isn't it? Because atomic has two meanings here.
Right.
First, it means something really small, like the fundamental, irreducible piece of a bigger system.
The basic unit.
Exactly.
Right.
But second, and this is where the genius is, it also means the source of immense energy or power. Like an atom, right?
Ah, okay. Got it.
So an atomic habit isn't just a tiny routine. It's a tiny routine that over time can unleash incredible power. And a habit is just, a routine you do regularly, often without even thinking, automatically.
So small and powerful, that's the key.
Yes. And that power comes from what Clear calls the compounding effect. It's kind of like compound interest, but for your personal growth.
Okay, explain that.
Well, think about it. A tiny adjustment, even just a 1% improvement or a 1% decline each day, it doesn't just add up. It multiplies. It compounds over time.
Right, like that airplane analogy he uses.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Flying from LA to New York, if the pilot changes course by just 3.5 degrees south, leaving LAX.
Just 3.5 degrees seems tiny.
Tiny, but you don't land just a few miles off. You land in Washington, D.C., hundreds of miles away.
Wow. That small shift at the start leads to a completely different destination.
Exactly. It shows how powerful those small, consistent choices are. Good habits make time your ally. Bad habits make it your enemy.
It's such a great illustration. And it works for positive stuff too, obviously.
Yeah.
Like maybe doing one extra productive task a day
Yeah.
over a career. That adds up massively.
Or knowledge, right. Lifelong learning. Each new thing you learn connects to the old stuff. It builds it like compound interest. Warren Buffett talks about this.
Yeah, he does, even in relationships, right? Just being a tiny bit nicer, more thoughtful in each interaction. Over time, that could build this huge, strong network.
Definitely. But here's where it gets kind of tricky and often frustrating for people. It's what Clear calls the plateau of latent potential.
Ah, yes, the plateau.
Because progress is almost never linear, right? We expect to see results right away. We put in the effort. We want the reward now. But often, the real results are delayed.
Like the ice cube analogy.
Exactly. He uses the ice cube. Imagine a room. The temperature goes from, say, 25 degrees Fahrenheit up to 31.
Okay. Still below freezing.
Right. Nothing visible happens to the ice cube. It's still just ice. But then the temperature hits 32 degrees.
And boom, it melts.
It melts. That tiny 1 degree shift unlocks this huge transformation.
That's the valley of disappointment he talks about.
Yeah.
So many of us work hard, weeks, months maybe.
Mm.
We're putting in the effort, but we don't see the scale moving or the project finishing.
Mm-hmm.
We get discouraged. We quit. And we have no idea that all that effort was actually building up under the surface. We were just like 1 degree away from the breakthrough.
It really makes you rethink quitting, doesn't it, when you understand that plateau?
Absolutely. And this leads to a really kind of counterintuitive idea in the book, which is achieving a goal. It only changes your life for that moment.
Right. It's temporary.
The real problem isn't usually the results you're chasing. It's the systems that produce those results. If you fix the inputs, the system itself, the outputs pretty much fix themselves.
Okay, so less focus on the finish line, more on the process.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What does this mean for our, very goal-oriented culture? Clear argues that focusing only on goals can actually limit your happiness.
How so?
Because you only feel satisfied when you hit the goal, not during the process. But if you have a systems-first mindset, you could feel good anytime your system is running. You're doing the work.
That makes sense. Plus, goals can sometimes be at odds with long-term progress, right? Like the marathon runner example.
Oh yeah, the classic yo-yo effect. People train like crazy for a marathon, cross the finish line.
And then stop training completely.
Yep. The goal, the race, isn't there to motivate them anymore. The focus was just on the finish line, not on becoming the kind of person who runs regularly.
Okay. So that's where identity comes in.
Exactly. That's why identity change is the real North Star here. Your habits aren't just things you do. Clear calls them micro-evolutions of the self.
Microevolutions, I like that.
Yeah. Every single action you take is like casting a vote for the type of person you want to become. You finish reading a book. That's a vote for being a reader.
You go to the gym, even for 10 minutes. A vote for being someone who exercises.
Precisely. So the real profound reason habits matter isn't just getting better results, though they do that. It's because they fundamentally change your beliefs about yourself.
You literally become your habit.
Yeah. So the first step isn't about what to do or even how. It's about who you want to be. That's the foundation.
Okay, that sets the stage really well. Understanding the power of small, the compounding effect, the systems over goals idea, and that identity piece.
Right. So now that we get the big picture, let's actually dig into the mechanics. How do habits actually work? How do they form in our brains?
Wow. Early psychology, like way back with Edward Thorndike and his cat experiments in 1898.
Cats in boxes.
Yeah, basically. Cats learn to escape puzzle boxes by doing simple things, like pulling a cord. And Thorndike realized this fundamental truth. Behaviors followed by satisfying consequences tend to be repeated.
Okay, so reward reinforces the action.
Exactly. That laid the groundwork. Habits are essentially mental shortcuts. They're memories of steps you took that worked in the past to solve a problem. Our conscious brain, it's a bottleneck, right? It can only really focus on one big thing at a time.
Right.
So habits become automatic. They reduce that cognitive load, freeing up our mental energy for other stuff.
Makes sense. And the cool part is, all habits, good or bad, apparently follow the same pattern. A 4-step loop.
That's right. It's a predictable cycle. First, there's the cue.
The trigger.
Yep, the trigger. That bit of information that signals, hey, potential reward nearby, like your phone buzzing.
Okay, phone buzzes. That's the cue. Then what?
Then comes the craving. This is the motivational force. It's the desire for the reward state. You don't crave the buzz itself. You crave knowing what the message says. You want that little hit of information or connection.
Got it. Cue, then craving. What's next?
The response. This is the actual habit you perform. So you grab your phone, you unlock it, you read the text.
Okay. And the last step?
The reward. This is the payoff. It satisfies the craving. You now know what the message said. And crucially, it teaches your brain, Hey, picking up the phone when it buzzed? That worked. Let's remember that for next time.
Cue, craving, response, reward. You
Ah,
really do see it everywhere once you look for it.
totally. Like alarm goes off in the morning. Craving
Cue,
to feel alert.
response, make coffee.
Reward. Feel alert. Or walk past a bakery.
Cue, smell of donuts.
Craving. Sugary treat.
Response, buy and eat the donut.
Reward. Satisfy the sugar craving. It drives so much of our behavior.
Understanding that four-step loop really feels like unlocking a code.
It is. It's the backbone. And understanding it lets us use what Clear calls the 4 laws of behavior change. These are like levers we can pull on each stage of that loop.
To make good habits easier to build.
And bad habits harder to keep doing.
Okay, what are the 4 laws?
Simple and powerful. 1, make it obvious. 2, make it attractive. 3, make it easy. And 4, make it satisfying.
Make it obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying.
Got it. So if you're ever wondering like why you keep scrolling Instagram when you meant to read, or why you can't stick to that workout plan.
The answer is almost always hiding in one of those 4 laws.
Yeah.
You failed to make the good habit obvious, attractive, easy, or satisfying enough. Or you've made the bad habit too obvious, attractive, easy, or satisfying.
All right, let's break them down. Law number 1, make it obvious. This is all about the cue, right? The trigger.
Exactly. It taps into the huge, often unseen influence of our environment. It's rarely just about willpower.
Yeah. Give me an example. Okay, there's this great study from a hospital cafeteria. A doctor, Anne Thorndike, wanted people to make healthier choices, but without lecturing them. Soda was everywhere, super obvious.
Right. Easy grab.
So what did they do? They simply put bottled water in more places, added it to the main drink fridges, put baskets of it near the cash registers, made water more obvious.
And what happened?
Just by doing that. Over 3 months, soda sales dropped over 11%. Water sales went up by more than 25%.
Wow. No signs, no talks, just changing what was obvious.
Exactly. It shows a key principle. We often choose the path of least resistance, and the most obvious option is the path of least resistance. Think about supermarket stuff at eye level sells way more.
Suggestion, impulse buying, right?
That's it. Humans are incredibly visual creatures. Most of our sensory receptors are for vision. Tiny visual changes can lead to big shifts in behavior.
Like that fly sticker in the urinals at Schiphol Airport.
Ah, yes, the famous fly. They etched a tiny fly sticker inside the urinals.
And guys just aimed for it.
Instinctively. Reduce cleaning costs by 8% a year. A tiny, obvious visual cue. A significant behavioral change.
So the takeaway is, if you want a habit to stick, make the cue for it a really visible, obvious part of your environment.
Absolutely. Think about where you want the habit to happen. Want to read more? Leave a book on your pillow. Want to practice guitar? Take it out of the case. Put it on a stand in the living room. Sprinkle those triggers around.
Okay, that makes sense. This ties into another great strategy he mentions, habit stacking.
Yes, habit stacking is brilliant. It leverages a natural tendency we have called the Diderot effect.
Diderot effect.
Yeah, it's where one action or purchase triggers a chain reaction. Like you buy a new sofa, suddenly your old coffee table looks shabby, then the rug.
Yeah.
One thing leads to another. Habits are like that too. They don't happen in isolation.
Okay, so how does habit stacking use that?
It's super simple. You find a habit you already do every single day without fail. Something totally ingrained.
Like brushing my teeth or making coffee.
Perfect examples. Then you stack your desired new habit immediately after that existing habit. The formula is just, after current habit, I will new habit.
Okay, so after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute.
Exactly. Or, after I take off my work shoes, I will immediately change into my workout clothes.
After I sit down to dinner, I will say one thing I'm grateful for.
You got it. You can even chain them together. After coffee, I meditate. After meditation, I write my to-do list for the day. After the list, I start the most important task. It creates a seamless flow.
That seems really practical. It connects the new, uncertain habit to something already solid.
Precisely. You're using the momentum of the old habit to launch the new one.
Now, you mentioned environment earlier. Clear also talks about context being the cue, right? Not just a single object.
Yes, that's crucial. Habits get tied to the entire context. Think about drinking alcohol. For many, it's linked to social situations. The friends, the music, the location, it's the whole package that acts as the cue.
So our behavior isn't just about the objects, but our relationship to them in that context.
Exactly. Is your couch the place you read books or the place you zone out watching TV? The context dictates the habit.
Which is why he suggests trying not to mix contexts too much.
Right. If your phone is your tool for work emails and social media doom scrolling and games and reading the news, it becomes this mishmash of cues. Your brain struggles to associate it with one specific productive habit, and often the easiest, most tempting habit wins.
Makes sense. Try to have specific places for specific activities. Work desk for work, comfy chair for reading, etc.
If you can, yes. It makes the cues much clearer and more effective.
Okay. Law 1. Make it obvious.
Yeah.
Got it. Now, what about actually wanting to do the habit? That brings us to Law 2. Make it attractive. This feels like it's about the craving part of the loop.
Absolutely. It's about tapping into desire. And our modern world is a master manipulator of desire, creating what scientists call supernormal stimuli.
Supernormal stimuli, like exaggerated versions of things we naturally find attractive.
Exactly. Think junk food engineered with salt, sugar, fat levels far beyond anything found in nature. Or social media, constant novelty, social validation pings, or heavily edited images in advertising. These things hijack our ancient brain wiring.
We have Stone Age brains dealing with temptations our ancestors couldn't even imagine.
Precisely. And a key player in this attraction game is the neurotransmitter dopamine.
Dopamine, often called the pleasure chemical, but it's more complex, right?
Much more. Classic experiments like Olds and Milner's with rats back in the 50s showed its power. Block dopamine, rats lose the will to live. Flood them with it, they'll obsessively repeat an action to get more.
Wow.
Highly habit-forming behaviors, drugs, gambling, junk food, social media, they're all linked to big dopamine spikes. But here is the crucial insight.
Yeah.
Dopamine isn't just released when you experience pleasure, it's released when you anticipate it.
So the wanting is driven by dopamine, maybe even more than the liking.
Exactly. Think of gambling addicts. The big dopamine spike happens before they place the bet, in anticipation, not necessarily after they win or lose. Or kids getting hyped up before Christmas morning. It's the anticipation, the desire, that really drives the behavior.
Okay, so to make a good habit attractive, we need to ramp up that anticipation, make it something we look forward to.
You got it. And one brilliant way to do this is called temptation bundling.
Temptation bundling sounds intriguing.
It is. It's where you strategically link an action you want to do with an action you need to do.
Okay, example.
Remember Ronan Byrne, the engineering student? He loved watching Netflix, but knew he needed to exercise more.
Right, the bike hack.
Yeah. He hooked up his stationary bike to his computer so Netflix would only play if he was cycling above a certain speed. Slow down. Netflix pauses.
That's genius. He made exercise the gateway to the thing he already wanted.
Exactly. The formula is kind of like this. First, after current habit, I will habit I need. Then immediately follow with, after habit I need, I will habit I want.
Okay, so maybe after I finish my work emails need, I will check my favorite sports scores want.
Perfect. Or after I do 10 push-ups need, I will scroll Instagram for 5 minutes want. You're using the dopamine hit from the want to pull you through the need.
That seems really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
What else makes habits attractive?
Oh, a huge one is the pull of social norms. We are fundamentally social creatures, herd animals, really.
We want to fit in?
Desperately. Evolutionarily, being cast out from the tribe was basically a death sentence. So we have this deep drive to imitate others, to gain approval, to belong.
Like that story of the Polgar sisters. The chess prodigies.
Amazing story. Their father, Laszlo Polgar, basically ran an experiment. He believed genius was made, not born. He created this intense home environment totally focused on chess. Chess was the norm. It was celebrated, rewarded.
And his daughters became
World-class chess champions, and they claimed they genuinely loved chess. The culture shaped their desires.
So we unconsciously copy people around us. Accents, postures, even habits like smoking or weight gain.
Absolutely. Studies show your chances of becoming obese go up significantly if a close friend becomes obese. We absorb the norms of our tribes.
So the strategy here is join a tribe where your desired behavior is already the normal behavior.
Exactly. Find a group, a community where the thing you want to do is just what people like you do. And ideally, where you already have something else in common with them.
Like the nerd fitness example, helping self-proclaimed nerds get fit by building a community around shared interests beyond just fitness.
Perfect. That shared identity makes the habit stick. It reinforces your personal identity as someone who does this thing. Belonging is a powerful motivator.
Okay, so temptation bundling, joining the right tribe. Any other ways to make habits attractive?
Yeah, simply reframing how you think about the habit. Our behavior isn't just based on objective reality, it's based on our interpretation of reality.
Like the cigarette example. Same cue, different interpretations.
Right. One person sees a cigarette and feels an urge, another sees it and feels disgust. The cue is the same, the interpretation drives the craving.
So we can consciously change our interpretation.
Definitely. Instead of thinking, ugh, I have to go for a run, reframe it. Okay, time to build endurance and feel strong. Or saving money isn't sacrifice, it's building future freedom.
Highlighting the benefits, not the perceived chore.
Exactly. That simple shift in perspective can make the anticipation much more positive, much more attractive.
Okay, cool. So law 1, make it obvious. Law 2, make it attractive. But what if it's obvious and it sounds good, but it still feels like a lot of work?
Ah, that brings us perfectly to Law 3, make it easy. This tackles the response part of the loop. It's all about reducing friction.
Removing the obstacles.
Precisely. This challenges the common idea that motivation is everything. Our brains are fundamentally wired to conserve energy. It's the law of least effort. We naturally drift towards the easiest option.
So the goal isn't to magically find more motivation.
Not primarily. The goal is to make the things that pay off in the long run as easy as possible to do in the moment.
Like the bent garden hose analogy.
Love that one. Trying to force more water through a bent hose, that's like trying to power through with motivation. It's hard work.
Right.
Or you could just unbend the hose. Make it easy for the water to flow. That's what Make It Easy is about. Reduce the friction. Don't just try to overcome it.
Okay, so how do we unbend the hose for our habits?
Environment design is huge again. Choose a gym that's literally on your way to work, not miles out of the way. Set out your workout clothes the night before.
Prime the environment.
Exactly. Think about Japanese factories and lean production. They obsessed over removing wasted steps, redesigning workspaces so workers didn't have to twist or turn unnecessarily. Less friction, more efficiency.
Technology does this all the time too, right? Making things easier.
Constantly. Voice assistants versus typing on a phone. One-click ordering. That British government example, just linking directly to the tax form instead of making people download it. Increased response rate significantly. Make the desired action the path of least resistance.
Okay, environment design. What else? There's something about quantity over quality, especially at the start.
Yes. That photography class experiment is so telling. Jerry Eelsman's class. One group graded on the quantity of photos submitted, the other on producing just one perfect, high-quality photo.
And the quantity group actually produced the best photos.
By far. Because they were just doing it. They were shooting, experimenting, learning from mistakes, getting repetitions in. The quality group spent all semester theorizing about perfection and had little to show for it.
So just doing the thing, even imperfectly, is more important early on than trying to be perfect.
Absolutely. Frequency matters most for locking in a habit. You need enough reps to get the behavior wired, to cross that habit line into automaticity.
Which leads beautifully into the 2-minute rule.
Ah, the 2-minute rule. Possibly the most practical takeaway from the whole book for starting new habits.
So simple. When you start a new habit, make it take less than 2 minutes to do.
That's it. Read before bed each night becomes read one page.
Do 30 minutes of yoga becomes take out my yoga mat.
Study Spanish for an hour becomes open my notes. Run 3 miles becomes put on my running shoes.
The point isn't to stop at 2 minutes, right? It's about making it ridiculously easy to start.
Exactly. It's about mastering the habit of showing up. You can't improve a habit that doesn't exist. You have to establish it first, make it standard, then you can optimize it.
Standardize before you optimize. I like that.
And crucially, even doing just 2 minutes, it casts that vote for your new identity. You showed up. You're the type of person who doesn't miss workouts, even if today's workout was just getting your shoes on. It builds momentum and reinforces belief.
That is a powerful shift. Okay, so your habit is obvious, attractive, easy. You're showing up. How do you make sure you keep showing up? That brings us to the final law, right?
Law 4, make it satisfying. This closes the loop. It's about the reward.
Because what gets rewarded gets repeated.
That's the cardinal rule. Simple, but profound. Remember that hand-washing project in Karachi?
Yeah, with the nice smelling soap.
Exactly. People knew hand-washing was important, but consistency was low. Partnering with Procter & Gamble, they provided Safeguard soap. The key wasn't just hygiene. The soap lathered well, it smelled great. It made the act of washing hands slightly more pleasurable.
More satisfying.
More satisfying, and boom, consistency shot up. It's about finding that immediate positive feedback. Like the minty taste of toothpaste doesn't actually clean your teeth better, but it feels clean, it's satisfying, so you keep doing it.
Okay, so immediate satisfaction is key.
Yeah.
But lots of good habits have delayed rewards, right? Exercise, saving money.
Exactly. And that's a fundamental mismatch. Our brains evolved in what Clear calls immediate return environments. Hunt, gather, eat immediate reward, find shelter, immediate safety.
Actions had quick, clear consequences.
Right. But modern society is largely a delayed return environment. Work now, paycheck later. Study now, degree later. Exercise now, health later. Save now, retirement decades later.
And our brains aren't naturally wired for that delay. We prefer the quick hit.
We do. Success today often requires overriding that ancient preference for immediate gratification.
So the strategy is, find ways to make good habits immediately satisfying, even if the ultimate reward is far off.
Precisely. You need little wins along the way. Add some form of immediate reward to bridge the gap. And here's a crucial point. The reward should reinforce your desired identity, not conflict with it.
Ah, okay. So finish a tough workout, maybe reward yourself with a relaxing bath or listening to a podcast you love, not...
Not by eating a giant tub of ice cream if your goal is to be healthy. The reward needs to align with the identity you're building.
Got it. This seems like where habit tracking comes in, too.
Yes. Habit tracking is powerful because it provides immediate visual evidence of your progress. And progress itself is incredibly satisfying. Seeing that streak of X's on a calendar or the graph going up in an app, that is a reward.
Like the paperclip strategy or Benjamin Franklin tracking his virtues makes the invisible visible.
Exactly. It leverages our desire for completion and provides that little hit of satisfaction each time you mark it off.
And related to tracking, there's the never miss twice rule.
Such a vital rule for maintaining momentum. Look, everyone slips up. Everyone misses a day. The key isn't perfection.
It's how quickly you get back on track.
That's it. Missing once is an accident, missing twice. That's the start of a new, unwanted habit. So the simple rule is, never miss twice in a row. Get back to it the very next day, even if it's just the 2-minute version. Successful people aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who rebound quickly.
Okay, but there's a potential trap with tracking, isn't there? Goodhart's law?
Ah, yes, Goodhart's law. When a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure.
Meaning, if you focus too much on just hitting the number, you might lose sight of the actual goal.
Exactly. Like a restaurant just tracking revenue might miss that customers aren't actually finishing meals or leaving happy. Maybe tracking completed meals or tips would be a better measure of success.
So when we're tracking our habits, we need to ask, is this metric really reflecting the identity I want to build? Or am I just optimizing for the number itself?
Crucial question. Make sure the measurement serves the mission.
Okay, so that's making good habits satisfying. What about breaking bad habits? We just flip the law.
Exactly. Invert the fourth law. Make it immediately unsatisfying. Pain is a powerful teacher. If failing has an immediate cost, you're much less likely to do it again.
Like Roger Fisher's wild idea about the nuclear codes.
Huh. Yeah, the Harvard law professor who suggested linking the nuclear launch codes to a capsule implanted next to a volunteer's heart. To launch the missiles, the president would literally have to kill an innocent person first.
Making an abstract catastrophe immediately, personally horrifying.
Talk about an immediate, unsatisfying consequence. It illustrates the principle, make the bad habit painful or costly right now.
This also ties into why environment change is so powerful for breaking habits, like that Vietnam heroin study.
Fascinating study. High rates of heroin addiction among U.S. soldiers in Vietnam. But when they came home, to a completely different environment, free of the triggers and stresses of war. Relapse rates were surprisingly low, much lower than typical addicts who return to their old environment after rehab.
So it wasn't necessarily about superhuman willpower. It was the drastic change in cues.
Largely, yes. Which leads to a key insight. Disciplined people aren't necessarily gifted with more self-control. They're just better at structuring their lives to avoid tempting situations in the first place.
It's about architecting a more disciplined environment, not just having more willpower.
Exactly. And one way to do that is using commitment devices.
Okay, what are those?
They're choices you make now that lock your future self into better behavior. They control your future actions.
Like Victor Hugo locking away his clothes so he couldn't go outside and had to write.
Classic example. Or John Henry Patterson inventing the cash register primarily to stop his employees from stealing it made theft immediately difficult and obvious.
So we can set these up for ourselves. like using apps that block distracting websites, or buying food in individual packages instead of family size.
Yes. Or automating good financial habits. Automatic savings transfers, automatic bill pay. These remove the need for willpower in the moment.
And for bad habits, we can increase friction, make them harder to do.
Definitely. Unplug the TV after watching it, maybe even put the remote in another room. Leave your phone charging overnight somewhere other than your bedroom. The more steps involved, the less likely you are to do it impulsively.
Okay, commitment devices, increasing friction. What about bringing other people in? Accountability.
Huge. Think about laws in society. They're basically social contracts with punishments for breaking them. We can create mini versions for ourselves.
Like a habit contract.
Yeah, a formal written agreement. You state your commitment to a specific habit, you define the punishment if you fail, and you get one or two accountability partners to sign it with you and check in.
Like Brian Harris, the entrepreneur who made that intense contract to lose weight.
Right. Signed with his wife and trainer. If he failed daily weigh-ins or food tracking, he faced immediate penalties, dressing up uncomfortably for work, paying them money, even wearing a rival sports team's hat.
Ouch. Knowing someone is watching adds that immediate social cost, makes failure immediately unsatisfying.
Exactly. It leverages our desire to maintain a good reputation.
Okay, this framework, obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying, and their inverses feels incredibly comprehensive. But how do we tailor this? Not all habits work for everyone.
Absolutely not. This is where understanding yourself comes in. Your personality, your natural inclinations, they matter.
Genes play a role.
They nudge us, for sure. Genetics research suggests pretty much all traits have some heritability. This doesn't determine our habits, but our deeply rooted preferences can make certain things feel easier or harder. Someone naturally less conscientious might need to lean more heavily on environment design, for example.
So it's about finding the habits and strategies that align with your nature, finding your game.
Exactly. Where do you seem to get better returns than the average person? What activities make you feel energized and authentic? What comes naturally?
Clear says, if you can't win by being better, win by being different.
Right. Combine your unique skills. Maybe you're a decent writer and you understand marketing. That combo might be more valuable than being just an okay writer. Create your own niche, like Clear using his biomechanics background to analyze habits.
Specialization helps too, right? Being the best in a narrow field.
Definitely. An arm wrestler might not be the strongest person overall, but in that specific context, they dominate. It's about finding the right pawn for your particular skills. Like the saying, boiling water will soften a potato, but harden an egg.
You got to know if you're a potato or an egg and choose the right environment.
Exactly. Genes don't dictate your destiny, but they can clarify where your efforts are likely to yield the best results. Play a game that favors your strengths.
Okay, so you found habits that align with you. How do you keep the motivation going long term? Especially when things get boring.
Boredom. The silent killer of habits. This is where the Goldilocks rule comes in.
Not too hard, not too easy, but just right.
Just right. We stay motivated when we're working on tasks of just manageable difficulty, things that are roughly 4% beyond our current abilities. Challenging enough to be engaging, but not so hard, we get discouraged.
Like Steve Martin spending 18 years honing his comedy craft before hitting it big. Constant, manageable challenges.
Right. The tasks need to stay novel enough to remain attractive and satisfying. Because once a habit is mastered, it can become routine, automatic, and potentially boring.
And boredom, Clear says, is the biggest villain in the quest for self-improvement.
It really is. And here's a critical insight. The most successful people, they feel the same lack of motivation, the same boredom as everyone else.
Did you show up anyway?
They find a way to show up despite the boredom. They fall in love with the process, even the mundane parts. Mastery requires pushing through that plateau of boredom. Think about how many goals get abandoned not because they were too hard, but just because the novelty wore off.
That's a huge realization. It's not about always feeling motivated. It's about acting even when you don't.
That's the professional mindset versus the amateur mindset.
Okay, so manage difficulty, push through boredom. What else helps sustain things?
Reflection and review. You can't improve what you don't measure and reflect on.
Like Pat Riley and the Lakers. The Career Best Effort Program.
Fantastic example. He had players track specific, often overlooked stats, diving for loose balls, helping teammates up things that contributed to winning but weren't on the main scoreboard. aiming for just 1% improvement across the board.
And it led to championships.
Back-to-back championships, because they were constantly measuring, reflecting, and finding small ways to get better.
Like comedians testing jokes or executives keeping decision journals.
Exactly. The author talks about his own annual review and integrity report, ways to step back, look at the big picture, see if his habits are still aligned with the identity he wants to embody.
It keeps you honest and allows for adjustments.
And it helps deal with identity shifts, too. What happens when a core part of your identity changes? An athlete retires, a parent's kids leave home, a founder sells their company.
That can be really disorienting.
It can. Clear suggests trying to keep your identity small. Don't let one single role define your entire sense of self. Having multiple facets to who you are makes you more resilient to change.
Wow. Okay, we've covered a ton. The power of small, compounding, identity, the 4 laws, tailoring it, sustaining it.
It's a really comprehensive system.
It really is. What an incredible deep dive into atomic habits. The core message just resonates so strongly, doesn't it? This remarkable power of tiny, consistent, unrelenting improvements.
They don't just add up, they compound. It's amazing what you can build if you just keep going day after day. A business, your health, knowledge, relationships.
It really drives home that consistency beats intensity almost every single time.
Yeah. And maybe a final thought to leave people with. We talked about desire driving action, right? That craving. But Clear suggests that pleasure is what sustains it, the satisfaction. And maybe, in a deeper sense, happiness isn't about chasing more desire, but reaching a state where desire is absent, contentment.
The absence of desire. Interesting.
So as you go about your day, think about that. How can you use these ideas, the 4 laws, the identity focus, to keep editing your beliefs, keep casting those votes, to become the person you aspire to be?
And can you find satisfaction not just in hitting the goal, but in that ongoing, sometimes boring, but ultimately transformative process of becoming?
That's the real challenge and the real reward.
Something to definitely keep mulling over. Thanks for diving deep today.
My pleasure. Great stuff to think about.